Welcome back. It's still Business Morning right here on Channels Television. Let's look at the youth now. And this is an important group of people, the future. In fact, the future starts today. So it's whatever we empower the youth with today that we can expect to see tomorrow, yes? So in Nigeria, we have over 65 million people who are under the age 10 to 24, the Gen Zs and the millennials. They combine to over just 50%. Unfortunately, the issue of unemployment also plagues this group. So we see in 2024, unemployment in this group, with this group of people, was about 5.05%, slightly lower than what it was in the previous year, still within that 5%. The NEET rate, that's youth who have completed education but are neither in employment nor education or training, that stood at about 14.4%, capturing almost 22 million youths. Unemployment, according to the World Bank, is highest in Abia State, about 18.7%, and unemployment is lowest in Nasarawa State. I guess we should find out the reason with Dr. Dayo Israel. Dr. Dayo Israel is the national youth leader of APC and joins us. He's been interacting with the youth a whole lot, and so we'll share some of those reasons and perhaps possible solutions with us. Dr. Israel, good morning and welcome to the program. Sorry earlier, we did put you up when you were not supposed to. We apologize for that. But it's good to have you on the program, especially on this segment.
Good morning, Mr. John Ekwa. Thank you very much for having me on the show, and it's been fantastic so far. Thank you very much.
Great. So I know you are with the ruling party, so most likely we'll be getting a lot of praises. You know, but I mean, so we don't ignore the youth, and yet we say the youth are the future of Nigeria. We're talking about reforms, how to move the economy forward, issue of insecurity. And we sometimes wonder, what are the youth's thoughts about the reforms? You interact a lot with them. Please share with us what they've been saying and their expectations.
Thank you very much for having me. And I think that it's important, the conversations ongoing in Abuja right now, for example, the Nigerian Economic Summit group going on. You had the executive director earlier, and also conversations around AFTA and, leveraging the global market or the regional market. Recently at the Youth House, we recently set up the first structure, the first secretariat of a youth wing of any political party in Nigeria. It's called the Youth House in Wuse 2, which is the Youth House. Recently, we hosted the MD of Nexim Bank. And what we had done with that event was to bring together the MD of Nexim and also young Nigerians in particular who were interested in export. To collaborate and have conversations around how young entrepreneurs and young startups and young founders can leverage on the AFTA and also the regional market, and also can benefit and tap into the non-oil export. The reality is that if we're going to build a new economy, if we're going to build a very strong and viral economy, we've got to invest in startups, we've got to invest in young people, we've got to invest in young businesses. I was with the Minister of Trade and Industry yesterday, Mrs. Jumoke, a fantastic woman. She was with us at the Youth House in Wuse 2 yesterday. And the conversations that we're having with her as young people, because part of what we do at the Youth House is to bridge the gap between policymakers and young people. So almost every week we bring in different policymakers to interact with young people. Tomorrow we have the Minister of Women Affairs. On Friday we have another senior government leaders. And what we spoke about with the Minister of Trade and Industry yesterday was the need for their ministry and the agencies under them to work collaboratively and aggressively to find a way to create an intervention, a major intervention that can boost SMEs and startups, that can boost. So, there are a lot of grants that we have, things like 500,000 naira, things like 2 million naira, things like 5 million. Some agencies in the federal government offer some of those loans. Lagos State, for example, has the LSCTF. But part of what we shared with the Minister of Trade and Industry yesterday was the need to create a kind of funding and grant that can support startup with nothing less than 10, 15, 20 million. And what are we talking about? We need to build businesses. We need to fund businesses with the kind of financing where you can rent a shop, you can equip your shop, you can furnish, you can buy generators and other machineries that you need, and also be able to pay your staff in about 6 months. Because if we're going to build lasting economy, which is what the vision of the President, Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is, we have to ensure that we're putting enough resources and enough money into the hand of young startups. So what are the young people saying? A lot of young people are interested in not just even looking for a job anymore. Our generation is not looking for employment largely. They're looking for opportunities to start their own business, to run their own industry. We want to be Dangote, we want to be Femi Otedola, we want to be Bua. We want to begin to also, create businesses that is going to last generation. And so the priorities for young people right now is in building capacity, in skills development. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, we just trained about 50, 80 thereabout young people at the youth house on how to make perfumes, scented candles, and all of those kind of things. So that's what young people want to see, things that can get their hands busy. In a few days, we're going to start training young people as well. We have about 500 people who have registered for our catering vocational training program, where we're training them how to make small chops, how to make perfumes. So there are those small scales, micro business ideas. And there are also big, ideas that young people are running, creating bottled water, manufacturing different products. For example, what North Motor is doing with Toby Ajayi, where they're assembling vehicles in Nigeria, and they're actually partnering right now with Unilag to create a campus-based assembling plant for young people. So what I see is that in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll begin to see major disruptions in the manufacturing industry, not just in the tech industry, but also in the manufacturing industry and in many other industries by young people, the young generation, the Gen Zs. People are beginning to create businesses even as young as 22, 23. Yeah. Many of our young people have online businesses at 21.
True, Dr.
When we as a party are also working with our government, it is to ensure that we can invest more in these young people to now have the capital they need to turn those ideas into reality.
Yeah, Dr. Israel, and I do agree with you. I mean, I was at a meeting like 2 Saturdays ago where you had, about 100 core members. And
I think I lost
okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay. I said I was in a meeting about 2 weeks ago where I had about 100 core members, and I asked, how many people want to do a 9 to 5? And you could barely see anybody raise their hands. So, I mean, I agree with you that young people have great ideas now, and they're not really ready, to get into the job. But perhaps we will need to find a balance, because even when people create jobs and manufacturing companies, they do need people to work on those jobs. So we need to find a balance. I'm saying that so that in your talking to them and all of that, please to help us find a balance, because you still need employees, for those companies, whether it's mini or maxi companies. The other thing is there are so many opportunities, as you've noted, both from the federal and state government, but unfortunately, the information doesn't seem to stream down, to a whole lot of people. And how do we get it beyond you are for APC, beyond the APC, to just any youth at all, and it doesn't have to be political party affiliated?
Thank you very much. So 2 things. Let me first respond to the first point of your question, which is that not everybody... So the reality is that the younger generation do not see the marketplace like our fathers did. So our fathers wanted to work in a company for 45 years or 35 years and retire, get a gold wristwatch and rock on a chair. I was reading an article this morning about how septuagenarians and octogenarians are also trying to now start a business and compete with the younger generation. So the reality is that a lot of our young people have the capacity to model. So many of them still wants to work in the private sector, but at the same time, work in normal employment, at the same time, have what we call in this new generation the side hustle, where they're also able to create something, build something. I have a staff, for example, at the youth house. She works with us, one of our program managers, dedicated and work with us from 9 to 5. But I'm also aware that on her status every day, she's advertising the honey that she makes, the crepes crayfish and all of the other things that she makes and she sells to complement whatever she earns from a 9-to-5 job. So many of our young people are not just looking at employment, which they are also embracing as a 9-to-5, but also complementing that employment with skills, with ideas, with innovations, and with enterprise that, they believe that is their passion. So two can work together. Everybody has a professional job, most of our young people now, but they also have a side also. So that's number one. Number two is, and you know that we also live in a world of remote work now. There are people who are in Nigeria who are working for companies in America, companies in China, in India, in Pakistan, and they're on their computer and they're delivering value for their job. Now let's go to what government is doing. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has prioritize young people. We can see that in what is done, even in the appointment of young people into his cabinet. Many young people who are heads of agencies and and ministries and ministers and all of that. We see many young people who are SSAs to the president who are leading transformational agenda for the administration. So the president is also concerned about how to finance young people. Look at what is done, for example, with the student loan. With the student loan, we're now paying school fees and giving stipends to students in universities. Every public university in Nigeria now have access to that student loan. They don't have to worry about their school fees and how to take care of themselves while getting to education. So the president is concerned about putting resources into the hand of young people. There's also a lot that is going on in agencies such as SMEDAN, Bank of Industry, and all of that. Of course, there's a need to intensify, and that's what we, for example, as a party of the administration, are also complementing what the government is doing, which is what is behind an evening wheat event and our breakfast meeting event, which is also streamed live sometimes on national television and other platforms, and also intensive working with all the agencies to amplify what they're doing so that the common man at the grassroots can see what government is doing. And the main reason behind our evening interactions that we have with policymakers is for them to come and give account about what their ministry is doing, what they're doing in terms of youth development, what opportunities are in their agencies that young people can take advantage of and can benefit from. Because no man lights a candle and puts it on a table. So what we want to do as a youth wing of the ruling party, because after all is said and done, the party midwifed the administration. When Nigerians went to the polling booth, it was APC that they voted for. And when we're going back in 2027 to re-elect the president by the grace of the Almighty, it is the APC logo that's going to be on the ballot box. So we feel that it's also important to complement what the government is doing and to work strongly, not partisanly. Our goal is not just for APC members. Our work is for all the Nigerian youth. As a matter of fact, I usually say that the APC constitution says that the national youth leader and other leaders in the party shall be responsible for introducing programs that would endear the party to Nigerian youth, not to APC youth only, to Nigerian youth. So the question of the party is very clear. So even as a party, we are working to ensure that the larger population of Nigerians are able to benefit from what the government is doing, and we're engaging the policymakers and the ministers, many of them who have been coming to the youth house, to come and showcase what they're doing, share what they're doing. Our digital media team are now leveraging that to communicate to Nigeria. There are lots of other things that the government is doing in terms of funding startups and also supporting and creating an enabling environment. Also protecting and policies around intellectual property that is being advanced by the Ministry of Tourism and Arts and Culture. So there's a lot that the government is doing, and we also need to be able to keep ahead as Nigerians, as citizens, and not give an excuse that we don't know what is happening, because there's a lot that is happening.
All right, a lot is happening and we have to be involved as Nigerians. Thank you so much, Dr. Dayo Israel, National Youth Leader at the APC.
Thank you so much.
All right, it's time for Global News.